Okay, here we go. Round two. Belt on. Safety first. So, the thing that's come to mind having recorded the first episode and uploading it is my network. And I'll tell you why. Because when I finished it, before I even uploaded it, I forwarded it to two mates of mine. Past guest and friend of the show, Dave Webster, and future guest and friend of the show, Aidan McKeown, my little brother. And there's a reason that I sent it to those two boys and not to, you know, without naming names, anybody else, really. And it's mainly because, first and foremost, I knew that they'd both, let me start you over. They're both fans of what I've put up before, big fans. So at a minimum, even if they hated the video, even if they hated the format, even if they couldn't hear me properly, even if it just really pissed them off, they'd be glad that I'm back doing it. Now, Aidan hasn't got back to me because he's an ignorant fuck, but Dave did, because Dave's sound. And Dave basically said he watched it on his phone, so it jumping a little, you know, didn't bother him. Picture quality was good. How ironic I say that, and it fucking jumping all over the place. Welcome to Wilkinstown. Picture quality was good, sound quality was good, and you know, he's glad that I'm back doing it, up the boys and down the points. Now, Aidan hasn't got back to me yet, but I'm assuming when he does, it'll be something similar. It'll certainly be positive. And there's something to that. You need a bit of encouragement in your life. Far too many people, I find, maybe this is just my life, I'm a bit biased towards this, but in my life, certainly, the negativity of people, maybe it's an Irish thing, maybe it's my friends thing, I'm not entirely sure, but there's an endless amount of it out there, and you don't fucking need it, especially if you're doing anything remotely creative, anything at all, but especially anything remotely creative, especially anything whereby you're putting a bit of yourself out there. You're taking a risk. I suppose you're making yourself somewhat vulnerable. Like, you're putting yourself up there to be potentially shot down. I mean, I would imagine that the majority of things that people do and go up online, well, first and foremost, I know, but the overwhelming majority of everything that gets put online, whether it be music or poetry or fucking YouTube videos or anything, the overwhelming majority of everything gets ignored all the time. That's the standard. People completely ignoring you or just not knowing that you exist is the standard. So expecting, you know, loads of views and fucking all the rest of it, like that is the exception that proves the rule. But the point I'm labouring to make here, or striving to make rather, is the importance of not only who you tell what to, which is incredibly important, but who you surround yourself with generally. Like the old cliche goes, you are the sum of the 5 people that you spend the most time with. Now, you have to kind of take that with a pinch of salt, because if you've got fucking 5 kids, does that mean that, you know, collectively you're an 8-year-old? Obviously not, but in work and in your leisure time, or your whatever it is that you do outside of work, it's incredibly important to surround yourself with, I don't know if you call it like-minded people, or I think the best overarching, broad, sweeping generalization of the type of people that you should be surrounding yourself with, or at least striving to surround yourself with, is people who will encourage you. I think that's the key thing. I've been very successful in my life in relation to rooting out people that I didn't think were good for me. And it's simple. Just, you know, if they text you, reply by all means, but don't give them something to answer back. And you do that enough over a long enough time period, they'll stop fucking texting you. But sharing news with people, even if it's completely inconsequential, nonsensical shit like, oh, I got back into podcasts and check out my new fucking YouTube video. Even little minute things like that. Be very careful who you share that information with, because their feedback, although it arguably shouldn't affect you to a large degree, the likelihood that it will, there's a likelihood that it will. And that's reason in itself to be very careful who you spend time with, and more importantly, who you share particularly good news with. Because if you've got bad news and you have to share it with people, you know, they're going to have whatever reaction they have. But if it's good news, and to me at least, getting back into podcasting is good news. It's good news for me. It mightn't be good news for the internet, but it's good news for me. It's a sign that I'm on the up and up. It's a sign that I'm getting out of my own way, and I'm putting something out there. And as I outlined in the first episode, I'm going to try and incrementally improve the standard of both what I say and how the whole thing is recorded. I got rid of the fucking yellow thing, and we'll just fucking take it from there. And on that note, I'll chat to you soon.